What drew you to joining the Transformational Coaching Diploma?
What drew me to coaching generally was just that I wanted to learn something new, and I wanted to learn something that was practical and worthwhile. So this particular course attracted me primarily from word of mouth. Someone else had done it and they spoke very highly about it. Um, but honestly, the other factors that drew me were it was a coaching course for doctors. And thinking about that, I think partly it's because it felt safer. So if you go into something new and it can feel a little bit intimidating, if you feel like you've got some common ground with other people, it feels like a slightly safer environment to be in. And there's also an element that coaching was a new idea and I wasn't quite sure how to put it into practice. So being with other doctors just made me think there'd be conversations that were had that might help me to work out how I could practically use this. Also, what attracted me, so I'm a GP, I liked the breadth of the course. I liked the fact that it covered lots of different modules with lots of different coaching techniques in it. And I think it was the length as well. So there's quite a lot of coaching courses that I've looked at beforehand that maybe are 2 full workshop days. And it just didn't feel like it would give enough to be able to learn anything that was going to be practically useful. So the 5 months was not too long and daunting, but it was long enough to make me feel like I would probably get something useful and worthwhile out of the end of it.
What did you most enjoy about the programme?
I enjoyed everything about the programme. I can't overstate it enough. And I think it's because it was such a good balance. So I like learning things, and the modules were really well thought out. And the online portal is a brilliant way to learn. So each time there's the modules, it's not daunting. It's done in a really interactive way as things can be when they're online. So there's the little video clips, there's the exercises that we do instead. So by the end of the modules, I felt I had a decent grip. So there's enough information to have a deep sense of learning, but it was never arduous at all. And then you've got the workshops. So it's the balance between the online learning and the workshops. And the workshops were just a pleasure. So meeting up every couple of weeks and having the opportunity for moving from learning something theoretically to talk about it within the group. And Tom, with you leading us with your understanding experience and then putting things into practice, it just all fitted in really well. So it felt like it flowed and it felt really, the best way to describe it, there was nothing that was a waste of time. So I think when you're busy and you've got stuff to do and you're flicking through and you're thinking, oh, this just isn't relevant at all, you start resenting it a little bit, but everything was useful and it all drew together in a way that it was a really enjoyable experience.
What do you think your biggest takeaway from the programme has been?
So my biggest takeaway from the programme primarily has been what a valuable thing coaching is. So at the start, I sort of knew a little bit about coaching, but I didn't have a deep understanding. So the idea of being able to create a relationship with somebody and a space where new thinking can occur is just fascinating and amazing. And that's a big takeaway point for me. The second thing is that you have to practice it to be good at doing it. And I think at the beginning, it's something that I didn't shy away from, but I didn't look at face on. And I just don't think you can learn things in theory and be able to coach. So another big takeaway message for me is unless you do it and you practice it, you're not going to be able to be good at coaching. Or if it is, it's going to be that much more difficult. So at the end of the course, I feel I've learnt a huge amount, and that's going to be applicable to the coaching that I do, but also it's given personal insight and self-awareness that has been really valuable for me. I feel that at the end of the course, I'm in a position at the beginning that I couldn't have coached. Now I think I've got the foundations in place to be able to move forward with this journey. And my other takeaway is that I've met some really lovely people, and that was a real gift that I didn't imagine at the beginning of the course. Spending 5 months every couple of weeks, getting to know people, it has been really special, and it's something that I think will continue. So it's a comma rather than a full stop, and we'll move forward and we'll keep in contact and we'll continue exploring our coaching journey together.
How do you envisage utilising your coaching skills?
There are quite a lot of ways I can see myself using the coaching skills. So just in everyday life, one of the reasons I started or wanted to do the course was because I'm aware that I talk too much and I wanted to develop better listening skills. So I think in everyday situations, whether it's in practice or at home, I think at the end of this course, I'm a better listener. And fundamentally, I think the belief, and it is the deep-seated belief I have now, that people are best placed to find their own solutions to problems, and actually telling people what to do isn't empowering. So that is a general principle that I think will be applicable through my different roles at work and life in general. I work as an appraiser. So in appraisals, I think it gives a really good opportunity to have coaching conversations, to look at goals and look at growth. And I'm far better placed now than I was beforehand to have those discussions. And at the beginning of the course, I didn't honestly envisage that I would be doing any coaching per se. But having done the course, one of my realizations is that actually having a dedicated coaching session is probably the best route to getting really valuable outcomes. So there are a number of potential avenues I could take that down. And I'm not going to change direction for my careers. I'm going to carry on doing all I do at the moment. But I envisage coaching per se actually being part of my future, one of the roles that I'm involved in.
What would you say to any doctor thinking of taking the programme?
If there's a doctor thinking of taking this programme, I would share my experience with you. So at the beginning of this course, I was quite ambivalent about it. So the time that I'd set aside had gone a bit awry, and I felt a little bit vulnerable and lacking in confidence with doing coaching. And I was busy and I wasn't sure that I'd made the right decision. And within a couple of sessions, I couldn't wait to meet up with everyone every couple of weeks. It was one of the highlights of my fortnight. I couldn't wait to do the learning modules. So if you are a doctor considering doing this course, I honestly can't imagine that you would find a better prepared, more balanced, well thought out course, which gave you the opportunity to learn a lot of different coaching skills in depth. And I think probably what's quite unusual about this course is that you have so much opportunity to practically practice your coaching skills, and to be able to do that with a small group of people who you've built up a relationship of trust is the safest place to be able to practice things, and things will go right and things will go less well, but you will develop together. And that's it's a lovely opportunity to have. And if you needed any more persuading on top of that, the chance to get to know 5 other people over the course of the 5 months is a real bonus. I have been told that every group thinks this at the end. I obviously think that I had the best group, but there's the opportunity through that friendship to be able to have a little gang, and that little gang will be able to take you forward for the next steps in your coaching journey. So the amalgamation of everything, I think, is a perfect package for starting to train and become a coach.